Park Committee to order. This is Wednesday, October 11th, 2017, 4:30 p.m. We have with us Alderman John Vanderleest, and Alderperson Barb Dorff is sitting in until the rest of the members of our committee arrive, and I'm Alderman David Nenig. So with that, we'll start out with approval of the minutes of the meeting of September 27th, 2017.
Move to approve.
Okay, we have a motion by Alderperson Dorff, seconded by Alderman Vanderleest to approve. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Adoption of the agenda, and I point out that we do have an amended agenda. I don't know if everyone has it. There was an item added.
Item 8?
Item 8, yeah, okay. With that addition, we'll ask for a motion to approve the agenda. Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Alderman Vanderleest, seconded by Alderperson Dorff to approve the agenda. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. First item is consideration with possible action on the request by the Optimist Club of Green Bay and the Green Bay East Side Baseball League to donate dugouts, batting cages, and bleacher canopies at East River Optimist Park. Donnie, we have a handout here, I see.
Yes. Did you get the handout? Okay. Okay, so I should use this.
Okay, there are two groups involved who will come forward to request to donate items at East River Optimist Park. Since they're all related to improving the ball fields, we have put both of those items together for you for
Okay.
approval. The Optimist Club of Green Bay would like to install masonry dugouts and batting cages. They are currently masonry dugouts with an asphalt shingle roof on the north field. They would like to install matching dugouts on the south field. In addition, the Optimist Club of Green Bay would also like to double the amount of batting cages in the park. There's currently one batting cage at each of the two fields. There's room to put 2 batting cages at these fields. They are proposing to use similar fencing, netting, and gravel surface to match what is already in the park. The East Side Baseball League would like to donate bleacher canopies on all of our 4 bleacher locations. These steel frames would be surface mounted to existing concrete, and fabric canopy will be installed during the playing season and removed and stored each winter. These units will be purchased from a manufacturer. The Optimist Club of Green Bay will work with the contractors and the volunteers to construct the masonry dugouts and batting cages. The bleacher canopies would be purchased by the East Side Baseball League, and the city would install them. Both groups would like to see this work completed prior to the start of the 2018 season. Staff would work with the groups to make sure that these items are designed to meet code and will monitor the construction. Once installed, the city will take on the maintenance for these items. Park staff would put up and take down the canopies on a yearly basis. We would recommend in the motion contains a clause that if the fabric canopies are damaged or worn out, the city is not responsible for replacing those.
Okay, any questions or discussion?
Looks like a very nice addition to the ball fields.
Yeah, this is a nice park, and it's only an improvement to it, so.
I do have contingencies.
Okay,
The contingency would be all costs are the responsibility of the Optimist Club of Green Bay and the Green Bay East Side Baseball League. All proper permits, insurance, and hold harmless agreements being obtained. All materials, supplies, and construction methods will meet city building code requirements. Final approval by the park staff for the plans. Once installed, it becomes city property, and the city is not responsible to repair the fabric canopies.
okay. Were there people who wanted to speak on this one?
We can briefly.
Come on. We have a motion
To open the floor.
to open the floor by Alderperson Dorff, seconded by Alderman Vanderleest. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Thank you for being here, and could you give us your name and address for the record, and then tell us anything that you'd like.
Well, I'm Dan Madigan, 804 South Madison Street, Green Bay, Wisconsin. I'm representing the Green Bay Optimists, and today I'll represent the Green Bay East Side Baseball League as well.
Okay.
We've been running baseball programs for 64 years most of them at this park. We've been supporting in any way we can. Dawn, you did a great job, and really when I heard what you represented, that's, as brief as we can, we agree with everything you said there. That the only comment that I'd add is the South Diamond isn't the same as the North Diamond, and I think the park would look better if they had similar views and visions. So we're just trying to have the South Diamond look the same as the North Diamond in terms of the bleachers, and I think from the base, from the fencings, in terms of the dugout, from the fence, the batting cage, we're really using the identical cage and just adding on to the side of that to get a second cage at each park. So,
Well, thank you very much for the donation. I think it'll be a good improvement to the park, and it's something that we really appreciate.
all right.
So,
If there's any questions, I can answer them.
any questions? By the committee
Motion to
members?
approve.
Okay, we have a motion by Alderman Nicholson, second by Alderman Vandelis to approve. All in favor, signify by saying aye, with the contingencies that were noted. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion
Thank you.
carries.
Thank you.
Thank you,
I
sir.
just like to thank
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Dan.
I just wanted to say that this group has worked endlessly in improving that park. Both of these groups have. And without that, these parks would not look as great as they look right now. And we'd like to thank you from the Park Department and the city for all the hard work that both groups have done to these softball fields. Thank you.
Thank you. And please pass that on to all the members that have worked hard to make the same. Okay.
Thanks,
Uh,
guys.
Okay, we'll note for the record that Alderman Nicholson is here. So we'll go on to number 2, consideration with possible action on the request by the Green Bay West Side Youth Baseball League to donate bleachers and pitching bullpens at 2 ball fields at Colburn Park. Donnie?
This group would like to purchase and donate 4 bleachers to the Colburn Park. 2 would replace at ball field number 2, and 2 would replace at ball field number 3. They would purchase the bleachers and the park crews would assemble them. In addition, the group would like to install pitcher bullpens areas on fields 1, 2, and 3. The bullpens would consist of minor modifications to fencing to give an area for someone to practice pitching. The design for the bullpens has not been finalized yet, but staff would coordinate the design and the location of these areas with the donor group. A contractor would install the fencing.
Okay. Is there anyone here that wishes to speak regarding this?
I don't see anybody from that group.
Okay. Well, it sounds like a positive thing, accepting the donation, and we have some contingencies.
All costs are the responsibility of the Optimist Club in Green Bay and the Green Bay East Side Baseball League. All proper permits, insurance, and hold harmless agreements are to be obtained. All materials and supplies and construction methods would meet city building code, and final approval of the park staff. And I said Optimist Club, and I meant to say
West
West Side
Side
Youth Baseball.
Okay. Okay, so we have a motion to...
Motion to approve.
Second.
Moved by Alderman Nicholson, second by Alderman Vandelis to approve of those contingencies. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 3, consideration of possible action on the request by Alderman Zima to review and update the Green Bay, Wisconsin Comprehensive Waterfront Plan 1995 to determine what can be done to complete the vision of that study. Mr. Zima?
Yeah, thanks. Just got copies here for
Thank you.
you. Do you have them?
Yes, I have one, thank you.
The topic of public access to the riverfront, has been off and on our agendas, I guess is at least the last 30 years or so. And there was a study, which I've just given you a copy of, and I have copies for the other members of the council also, which I'll stick in their mailboxes. I would like to add, before I start, that the chief of staff of the mayor took it upon herself when I asked that these be copied so they'd be available for your and the rest of the council's review. Totally out of order, never been done before. Ordered the finance department to send me a bill for these copies of $115 for 14 copies. I would hope that Alderman would not be dissuaded from bringing information to a committee. I talked to the purchasing agent who oversees the printing department, and he said, no, that bill didn't come from him, and he learned that it came out of the mayor's office. And Ms. Jeffries has had confrontations with me about it, and she said she met with our city attorney regarding this matter before she sent the bill out, which is funny, it came the day after I got the printing. But I think things are going a little bit too far. And I just want you to know, I don't know if you all want to pay $8 for each one of them, because that's what supposedly I'm being charged for it. And I would hope that that bill is retracted. Anyway, that piece of housekeeping out of the way for the time being. This was a topic of discussion at the Mayor's Beautification Committee, and this study was looking at all of it. It basically, they took surveys in the community, and it was kind of overwhelmingly felt that the main thing we should try to do is add space to our riverfront where public would have access, as many other communities do, like the pier, Whitefield Park, etc. And we do have the East River as well as the Fox River, but this study kind of unanimously felt that the public access to the river really was inadequate. And I just wanted the committee to have the benefit of this study and to maybe put it on a future agenda to discuss what things, if any, we could do to improve our public access. And not that we haven't done certain things, it suggests things in the study about increasing bike paths and all that sort of thing, some of which we've done. But the member of the Beautification Committee is here, and she'd like to highlight a couple of parts of this study which you could try to peruse at your leisure, and then perhaps we can discuss it at a future meeting. So if you'd open the floor for that purpose, I'd appreciate it.
Okay. A couple of things about this, if I could just ask for some clarification. When I looked at this, and it looks like when this was originally done, it was the planning department of the city that led the effort. It involved planning, it involved park department, maybe other departments, I don't know. It's...
Well, the reason this is actually held up a couple weeks is because Donnie had tried to get a hold of me, but I didn't receive her message in time.
Right.
And she thought that it maybe should go to the Plan Commission, but that wasn't my purpose.
Okay.
I really felt it was the decision makers of the Park Committee to look at this work that was done by through the Plan Commission and through a grant that was received to make the study. And I thought
were you hoping for a complete study of it again, or just to consider certain visions?
Well, I think you should review it and decide what you think would be best, but I think we should try to make some efforts to increase the riverfront and the public access to it, because there isn't a whole lot. We do have Light Park on the west side, and we do have a walkway on the west side of the river, but that's about it. The one park that we actually had labeled as a park was Flatley Park.
Right.
And that was taken for development, so it was just kind of the opposite of what this study said we should do. In fact, they mentioned Flatley Park quite often through it, as an example of what we needed more of, not less of.
I think the original study was funded by a grant from Wisconsin Coastal Management, and then a consultant assisted in preparing it. I might be wrong on that.
Right.
Is that right?
Mhm.
So I don't know if that would be the intent, to seek coastal management funds to initiate a new thing or a new study, but we certainly
Well,
would
that's
certainly
all
like to
in the
hear
realm
from,
of possibility. sure.
certainly like to hear from people if there are specific suggestions. Maybe we could take care of that.
Well, at the
Certainly-
minimum I want you to do is review this and put it back on an agenda, and
Yeah.
you can hear from the public, and
Okay.
if you feel we need another study, or if you think we should maybe study where can we get more access from the public,
Yeah.
and what would be the best way to do it. I know at one point we did have a chance to buy the old Northwest Engineering building, but for whatever reason, it never came before the council, and it was sold at I believe the cost at that time was about $750,000 for that entire area, but then it got sold privately again, and it's continued to be,
Yeah.
a warehouse industry.
Well, it is 23 years old, and maybe it is time to take a good look at it.
Okay. And if you'd open the
Okay.
floor, I'd appreciate it.
Motion? Do I need you?
No.
What are you looking for?
Motion to open the floor to hear from interested parties. Moved by Alderman Vanderleest,
Second.
seconded by Alderman Nicholson. All in favor, signify by saying
Aye.
aye. Motion carries. Anyone like to speak to the committee? Please come forward. And for the record, we are recording the meeting. Please give us your name and address so we have it on file.
Lynn Austin, 1449 Morrow Street. I ran across this study the last few months. Our beautification committee has kind of been coming under fire by the mayor's office, and so I'm their historian, and I said I would look up the history of our committee and find out how we began and how we got our objectives and all of that. And evidently, we began in the late 1800s. There was a national movement called the City Beautiful movement, and some of the larger cities like Washington, D.C., Chicago, and one of the cities in Ohio all began trying to have their downtowns be citizen-friendly, like with cultural things, art museums, libraries, museums, parks, things that would draw the community to come to their downtown. And evidently, Arthur Neville, who was one of our mayors, his wife became the first president of the Green Bay City Beautiful Committee. And the next president was Jessie Hurlbut Buchanan. Her husband was a doctor in town, and I guess Jim Sanderson said the building downtown on Walnut Street used to be named the Buchanan Building, as well as with Bellin, which I didn't know that. But anyway, at one point, I ran across some old minutes when Mayor Jaden was our mayor, and at the time, the historian for our committee was Dr. McIntosh, the soil scientist from UWGB, and he had written a letter on our committee's behalf to Mayor Jaden, and he referenced this study in it. So then I went to look for the study, and that's how I ran across it. Admiral Flatley Park was a park that was brought about because of our beautification committee. We raised the funds. Originally, we had wanted to have it on the west side of the river, but that property was deemed too valuable. So they gave us a little piece of property along Main Street where it was. We raised the funds for the fountain. It was a huge celebration when that park was dedicated with a flyover by a Air Force show and, you know, all these military people came. Well, in this study, that park was still in existence, and they used that as the example of what we should be doing all along our waterways. They also pointed out that De Pere did a wonderful job with Voyager Park, and they said that used to be the town dump. And evidently Voyager brought in a bunch of topsoil, planted trees, and it became that beautiful park now. And they said Green Bay should be doing that all along its riverways. And I had noticed that the head of Wisconsin Coastal Management, because he funded our LaBay website project, and I'd always say, well, what would you think about if we did this? And, you know, I wanted to have Green Bay have the first chance at any of our ideas. And I noticed he'd never say, no, not there. But he'd always say, well, maybe like Portage would be a better place, or he'd suggest some other place. And I thought, okay, somehow we're getting a vote of no confidence from them. But I didn't realize that they had spent all this money doing this big study. And not only did we ignore it, we did the exact opposite. We destroyed Admiral Flatley Park, and we built buildings as close as possible to the river. By law, we had to put in that trail. But the reason that was a huge mistake and why they were suggesting never to do that, and other cities have found that out, as soon as you have a flood, like Tom Erdman, he always would tell me, one day we're going to get a northeaster and your downtown will be underwater. And what he said is, as the wind blows all the water from the bay towards the mouth of the Fox River, our really fast sewer system that we have in place now will be rushing all the rainwater down through the sewer system into the East River, into the Fox, heading towards the mouth. And the two will meet, and he said, you know, that you're going to find what a mistake that was to build all those things so close to the river. And in the study, as well as Tom had said, you always want to, where there used to be wetlands, have parkways. That way, when they overflow, all those trees absorb a ton of water, plus you minimize the amount of financial devastation, because parks, you know, can recover, where buildings really have a pretty rough time. The other thing is, and I don't know, you guys all vote on city council things, so you might want to keep this in mind. Like when they would put these buildings, like a lot of these apartment buildings up along the river, they dig basements underground for their cars. Well, that'll be the first place that's underwater. And probably of all the people living in those buildings, one of the most expensive possession they have is their car. So that is really unwise to have those kind of basements along the waterway. You should have parks there. And that's basically what this study was telling us. Now, it's too late for our downtown, at least on the east side, because we built up and did the exact opposite of what they said. However, north of Main Street, that's still, you know, maybe a possibility, going out to the bay, or like across from the coal piles, you know, that area too is a possibility. They suggested these parkways be big, like Voyager Park, and they said on there you should have picnic tables and places for your citizens to come down and enjoy the river and be in their downtown. So there's a lot of really good points here. I was working my way through this and hotlining things, but one by one, since, you know, this latest administration, we've done the exact opposite of what was recommended here. Although Mayor Jaden it did seem like he was paying attention to this. So I just figured maybe no one knew about this study, but it explained a lot, you know, why Wisconsin Coastal Management doesn't you know, readily want to sink money into our town and you know,
Well, I think the intention, I remember when this plan was adopted, and I think part of it was that when we apply for grants to different organizations to do things along the waterway, that, you know, we can say that that the city has a plan, and it's consistent with the plan, and that supports any grant applications that we make. Is that right, Dawn?
Correct.
Okay. You know, I guess in terms of this, first, I think we need to figure out what the role of planning is versus the role of, you know, park department on it. And if there are any specific recommendations to change it, you know, by all means, bring them forward. You know, to be honest with you, I haven't read it since 1995, so, you know, I do want a little bit of time to look at it myself. Other committee thoughts? Any questions for Ms. Osborne?
I have nothing.
John?
I would say it's, more discussion is needed. By bringing it forward, we can do that.
yeah. What you want to really pay attention to, they did a pretty comprehensive survey asking the
Right.
citizens what they like. And like 96% of the people here all were saying they wanted parkways along our riverfront like what De Pere had. So we did the exact opposite. And that's probably why when you look down our streets, you don't see people, you know, coming to the downtown. They'll come on the trail, but a trail, you just pretty much ride your bicycle through, or, you know, you're just passing through. But we don't really have places, you know, that have nice mature trees where you can sit under the shade and.
Okay. Well, any thoughts by, is that about it, Lynn?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else want to address the committee on this?
Motion to return to regular order
A
business.
motion and a second to return to the regular order of business. All in favor, signify by
Aye.
saying aye. Motion carries. Okay. Donnie, do you have any comments?
Yeah. First of all, you know, you gotta remember, we have Light Park, that's on that side, and we also have the City Deck, which is a park. We have Veterans Parkway that is on the west side as well. I have no objection to looking at this and saying, hey, can we include more public spaces? But I have to say that it would have to be a joint effort between planning and parks, because parks is parks. We don't do the whole riverway, so I would ask that if you refer this, to refer to both committees, to sit down and have some discussion about this, and what, if we see any possibilities of having more public access to the riverfront.
Well, I don't disagree with anything you said. I did want to bring it to the park committee because I thought these are the elected representatives of our park system. And they're the ones that make a lot of recommendations to us, and I thought they should become informed about it. And I have no problem with sharing this with the plan commission and decide, well, do we need to update this study? Do we need to just accept the study as it is and maybe try to see where we can make some improvements on the recommendations? And, you know, are there any avenues for us to increase the public access along our riverways?
Okay. So what is appropriate? A motion to
To
refer it?
refer this to Parks and Planning and
Staffs.
for staff to review for more public access to
And
the
they
riverfront.
give us their recommendations.
Unless you have
And,
anything else.
and to invite other recommendations as well.
Yeah, and maybe we need to take make another survey. Maybe people's ideas have changed one way or the other, but I have a feeling no.
Yeah,
I just
think
think we've lost some opportunities over
Yeah.
the years, and I'm just wondering if we can get some kind of plan that says that it has some priority, and that we won't be reducing park space along the river, which I don't think we had an abundance of to start with, but that we increase it. Because it's a place where people want to come and stay, not just
Sure.
come
This
to a
committee
restaurant or
has
something like that.
has always advocated for public access to the waterfront, and, you know, we've done a lot in recent years. I know maybe we may not have done everything that's in the plan, but, if you look at all the trails that have been developed and, and other access, kayak launches and all sorts of other things.
Maybe the staff could summarize the suggestions
Yeah.
and mark out the ones that have been followed and the ones that haven't, and then give a chance for the committee to,
Right.
hone in on, is there something more we want to do?
Okay, so can we?
So I think if you can refer to the staff to prepare
Yeah, so can we?
that report for you, and if
Sure.
you want to refer it also to the planning staff, that's fine with me.
So I'll ask for a motion to do that then, to refer it to both staffs with this, their analysis and recommendations coming to a future meeting. Is that acceptable?
Motion to approve.
Okay, motion by Alderman
Second.
Manley, second by Alderman Nicholson. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay.
Thank you very much, Jim.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. Next one is number 4, consideration of possible action on a request by Charter Communications for a utility easement through the Fox River Trail Greenway near Stewart Street. And I think we have a map here in our packet that outlines it. Donnie?
Okay, you remember at our April 26th Park Committee, you approved an easement for Charter Communication along the Fox River Trail, and that was near Stewart Street. For that project, they were proposing to run a fiber optic cable under the Fox River through the easement the city granted them. The plan at this time is to end the new fiber optic at an existing pedestal within the easement. This easement was finalized and the work was completed. During construction of this process, Charter Communication realized that the fiber optic line from the pedestal to Stewart Street also needed to be replaced in order to make the project successful. There is an existing fiber optic line in this location, but there is no easement in place, so they are requesting that the city grant them an easement to complete this project. We have no problem with that.
Motion to approve.
Okay, we have a motion by Alderman Nicholson, second by Alderman Vandelis to approve the easement as requested. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 5, consideration with possible action on a request by Wisconsin Public Service for a utility easement at Beaver Dam Park for electric service to the youth ball fields. Donnie?
So, we are in the process of relocating 2 softball fields at Beaver Dam Park. The contractor has been hired and the work is well underway. The Park Department has funding in place to replace the sports lighting for all 3 ball fields. The lighting project would be done in 2018 after the ball field construction is completed. As part of the lighting project, the staff is proposing to install a new electric system in one central location for all 3 of the fields that are there. A new underground electric line would be installed north of the school, partially on city property and partially on the school district property. Wisconsin Public Service now requires a formal easement for this to happen. So we are asking to approve this easement.
Motion to approve.
Okay, motion and a second. Motion by Alderman Nicholson, second by Alderman Vandelis to approve. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, number 6, consideration with possible action on a request by Brown County for a utility easement to install fiber optic cable across the East River near Kurtz Avenue.
So again, you have a map in your packet right here if you want to refer to it. So the school district received grant funding to install fiber optic cable linking all of their schools to the main district office on Broadway. Phase 1 of the construction is to install the fiber optic lines from Washington Middle School to Ann Sullivan School. And the majority of this fiber optic cable will be placed within the street right-of-way within Brown County's existing utility easements. The only location for this phase where they're requesting an additional easement is where the line will cross the East River. They'll have to bore a line under the East River connecting Kurtz Avenue to Deckner Avenue. And because Kurtz and Deckner Avenue do not line up, they'll have to bore on an angle in order to make that connection. Brown County is requesting the easement on this property, allowing the boring equipment to bury the lines in a fairly easy manner. They'll bury 3 conduits, but only 1 would be used for this project. The other conduits would remain empty for future use. and the proposed easement is 3 feet wide. The county and school district could install the fiber optic cable without this easement, but it would be more difficult for the boring equipment because it's a sharper angle, and you can see that on the map. So our recommendation is to approve it. The engineering consultant and the school district are both here if you have
Motion to
questions.
approve.
Okay, good. Are there any questions? Anybody
No.
have? Okay, we have a motion by Alderman Nicholson, second by Alderman Vanderleest to approve. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Number 7 is consideration with possible action on hiring Patrick Engineering to complete the engineering necessary for the installation of a new Ferris wheel at Bay Beach Amusement Park to be paid for by the Friends of Bay Beach. Now, we've been using Patrick Engineering for other
Yes.
design work at Bay Beach, and I presume that's why.
Correct. We're looking at the beach development as well. So this is a project that we're trying to coordinate between both groups, both entities on what we're doing. So we received a quote from Patrick Engineering to complete the engineering bidding documents and permitting necessary for the installation of the new Ferris wheel at Bay Beach. The quote came to $29,900. We feel this is a fair price for the work that needs to be done to do this. Now, remember, the Friends, this is coming through the Friends of Bay Beach are paying for this. So what we're asking is to allow staff, to authorize staff to contract with Patrick Engineering to complete this work.
Motion to approve.
Okay, so a motion by Alderman Nicholson, second by Alderman Vanderleest to approve the recommendation. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, then we have number 8, I don't know if you have that, Andy, that was added to the agenda. It's consideration with possible action on the proposed Eisenhower Park and East High School property trade agreement with the Green Bay City School District. Okay, who wants to?
Me. Okay, this item is very similar to the proposed Barrett School property trade agreement that was approved at the September 13th Park Committee. Last spring, the Green Bay School District referendum passed to fund an addition to Eisenhower School. Shortly after the referendum passed, the school district contacted the Parks Department to see if there was any interest in a property trade to make this work. In this situation, there is no school district property at Eisenhower that's available to trade. Therefore, the Parks Department requests to trade the property behind East High School that is needed for the realignment of the East River Trail. If this property trade is approved, the school district will receive 0.90 acres of land at Eisenhower Park, and the city would receive 0.76 acres behind East High School. So we handed out the preliminary concept and the property trade agreement, in which outlines the terms of the property trade. This agreement highlights what park amenities would need to be rebuilt due to this construction, what the school district will fund, and who is responsible for the ongoing maintenance of these facilities. The new addition would be added to the southeast corner of the school. If you look on your map here, you can see that. Did you have copies? Did you want a copy of that? Okay. There would be a community room placed into this addition, and the school district will allow the Parks Department to use that for park programs. The use of the room, along with other rooms in the school, will be consistent with the shared use agreement with the district to match the agreements with the other schools. As you know, the city and the school district is currently in the process of updating their shared use agreement. Since that agreement is still in draft stage, we would recommend that the approval of this property trade is contingent upon the approval and execution of the revised shared facility use agreement. This will ensure that the Park Department will be able to use the school and other schools to run park programs out of. In addition to the building, a new hard surface play area would be constructed near the existing playground. The school district will relocate the swings and install an ADA-compliant walk to the existing playground. A walk connecting the park shelter to Shane Street will also be installed by the school district. There is an existing large soccer field that it's a very heavily used soccer field at this park. In order to keep the soccer field and fit the school addition in, we'd have to relocate it. on an angle within the park. The school district will have to regrade the park to accommodate the relocation of the soccer field. As part of the soccer field relocation, we would have to get rid of the ice rink at this park. There's no way we can have both of them there. The area is too low and the grass is too wet to maintain a soccer field and still keep that ice rink in the area. These plans are very preliminary, and they have not presented these to the public yet. The school district wanted to see if the park committee and the city council was in favor of this property trade before having public hearings. The concept and plans of the school may change slightly after those public meetings. The property that the city requested behind East High School will accommodate the future relocation of the East River Trail. This current trail alignment ends at the sidewalk on Baird Street, which is within the mid-block of that area. It is not safe to cross Baird Street in this in the regular location that we originally thought of for that. In 2009, an engineering consultant was hired to determine the best and safest route for the East River Trail expansion, and then they picked this property. The consultant recommended that instead of having the bikers and trail users cross Baird Street at Main, it was safer to cross Baird Street at St. Clair Street intersection. There was way too much traffic congestion at Main and at Baird to safely cross. We would agree to approve this motion.
Okay, are there people here who would like to speak to the committee? Come on forward. We'll take a motion to
Open the floor.
by Alderman Vanderleest, second by Alderman Nicholson. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, come on forward. You can see a lot of work has been gone into this.
Well, I guess, Donnie did an excellent job of giving you all the history and pretty much everything we've agreed upon. So I would be here just to answer any questions, because I think she's done a really excellent job of giving you the background and what we both agreed upon at this
Okay.
point.
I think this is in your district, Andy, isn't it?
Yeah,
Do you have
yes it
questions?
is. Yeah, I got a question. So what is this gonna be? Is this gonna be extra classrooms?
Yes, if you look on the back page, you'll see there's
Back page of what?
the back page of the handout.
The big
Oh, the last page.
Yeah.
All right.
You'll see it's an addition, there's 6 additional classrooms, some restrooms, some smaller rooms, a new music room, and then the community room that was referred to.
Okay. So basically just classrooms.
Classrooms and community room.
Yeah, I mean, is a daycare center gonna be moving in?
No, there would be no daycare.
Okay.
Right now, the school does have an after-school program that would continue.
No, I'm talking about a daycare.
No.
Okay. Because I remember years ago, that was an issue in the neighborhood about that. So,
Yeah,
okay.
that plan is totally different. That was going to be a community center that was added onto the school, and this is a addition to the school.
Okay, all right. I just wanted that clarified. Thank you.
Any other
That's all I have,
questions?
Mr. Chairman.
Any other questions? Then motion to return to regular order of
Motion to
business.
return to regular order of business.
Alderman Nicholson, second by Alderman Vanderleest. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. The only question I have for staff, pardon? Okay, well, the only question I have before we get to a motion is, what about the ice rink? Where is the nearest ice rink, and is that going to be an issue?
Do you know?
Wilder's not too far away.
Okay.
The
That's
nearest one
Heated
from
Choker, you got Edison.
Eisenhower? Is
I
this,
didn't bring my list with me.
is this a heavily used rink, or
Yeah.
I don't know, you tell me.
about like all of them?
Yeah.
It's not a
Medium.
heavily, it's not a
I
heavily
don't
used.
think it's
No.
used much.
Well, you should be
I
able
mean,
to.
what ice rinks have been used in the city of Green Bay?
Yeah.
So, I think the nearest one would be what?
Yeah. Well, I think-
Wilder?
Yeah. I'm trying to think of what's.
I don't know, to the north or south. But,
Well, that's okay. I think a lot of thought has
Yeah.
gone into this, and considering the city's needs as well as the school district's needs, so I have no problem with it. Donnie, what motion would you recommend?
Well, it's contingent upon the law department review, approval, and execution of the property trade agreement with the Green Bay School District the approval and execution of the revised shared facility use agreement between the City of Green Bay and the school district, and the property trade for Eisenhower Park and East School will occur at the same time.
Okay. And then you'll have public information sessions, just like you did it here, so residents can comment on it, if you like. Right? Okay, so can we have a motion to approve the trade agreement that's as proposed?
I would approve it.
Okay, motion
Second.
by Alderman Vanderleest, second by Alderman Nicholson. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you for being here. That takes care of that. Director's report. Don?
Construction continues at the new 2 ball fields at Beaver Dam. The underground utilities and the grading has now been completed. The paving for the dog exercise area and the new stage has been installed at Whitney. Work continues on the reconstruction of the Fox River Trail. The light pole bases and concrete borders have now been installed. The haunted chase race is this Saturday at Bay Beach Amusement Park and the Wildlife Sanctuary. The rides are down at Bay Beach. Heavy use continues at the Metro Boat Launch. And the Falls event that was held this Saturday, Sanctuary by Starlight, was a huge success. We had over 250 people attend that for a fundraising event. We also had 3,000 participants join us in the Autumn Adventure, which was sponsored by the Thursday Breakfast Optimist Club, and we would like to thank them for their sponsorship. And that concludes my report, Mr. Chairman.
Motion to receive and place on file.
Okay, any questions? Okay, we have a motion by Alderman Nicholson, second by Alderman Vanderleest to receive and place on file the director's report. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. With that, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Alderman Nicholson, second by Alderman Vanderleest. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Right.
Opposed? We stand adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.